Detected KPTV, Oregon's 12.
I'm Kimberly Moss.
And I'm Ken Ackerman. Your head's going to spin next week on Good Day Oregon. Linda Blair from The Exorcist reveals the scariest places on Earth.
And see how to throw an unforgettable Halloween party next week.
3 more cases of anthrax in New York City, how the new cases were discovered and where the anthrax came from.
Also, more suspicious powder is found here in the state of Oregon tonight, sorting through the facts about anthrax.
And on a lighter note, this is the cream of the crop, the fanciest felines in Portland, next on the 10 o'clock news.
Live, Anna Katayama, Chris Murphy, Monica Guzzo with the Pinpoint Forecast, and Dan Christopherson Sports. This is the 10 o'clock news.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. 3 people who handled a letter sent to NBC News anchor Tom Brokaw have tested positive for anthrax.
A New York City police officer and 2 lab technicians who handled the letter are the latest to be exposed. Jason Carroll has the latest on that investigation.
This mail center in Hamilton, New Jersey, processed the letter health officials say is the source of anthrax that infected an NBC employee. The sealed envelope was postmarked September 18th from nearby Trenton, New Jersey, and addressed to NBC anchor Tom Brokaw. Late Sunday, New York's mayor says the police officer who opened that letter and the 2 lab technicians who handled it were exposed to anthrax spores.
Police officer who actually retrieved the envelope, upon testing, spores were found in his nose, and he was treated immediately with Cipro. 2 of the lab technicians, one actually was found to have only 1 spore in her nose, or appears to be 1. She's being treated. And another lab technician had some on her face, and she's also being treated.
The presence of spores either on somebody's face or in the nasal passages does not necessarily imply that they were exposed to a sufficient number of spores, or that will ever then lead to any type of disease.
Initially, investigators focused on another letter sent to Brokaw. So far, results from tests on that letter and one sent to the New York Times are negative. To date, the mayor says only 1 NBC employee, an assistant to Tom Brokaw, has a confirmed case of anthrax. She has a cutaneous form of the disease, a skin infection. A second employee has symptoms which may indicate exposure. Tests are still underway. Both are being treated with antibiotics. Physically, both employees are doing well. There is concern at NBC and in Hamilton, but city officials say it does not appear as if anyone at the mail facility was infected. Jason Carroll, CNN, Hamilton, New Jersey.
Reports of mysterious powder being found continue coming in around the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, in Washington, the Port Townsend post office will be closed all day tomorrow, while testing is done on a yellow powder found on a couple of letters there. Mail clerk discovered the letters while sorting through the mail yesterday, and the post office was sealed off for about 10 hours.
And the powder found at the Monmouth post office yesterday was not anthrax. Lab tests determined the powder is harmless. Police say the letter containing the substance was meant as a practical joke being sent to a friend.
Clerks at a grocery store just outside of Hood River, Oregon, called police after finding a suspicious substance earlier today. Now, the clerks say that they were opening a roll of quarters when a white powder spilled out. Not wanting to take any chances, police cordoned off the Pine Grove grocery and gas station today. They evacuated the area and then called in hazmat experts to investigate. The sheriff found protective clothing and then gathered a sample of the substance for testing.
Then he went into the store and to see where the substance was at. Consequently, he found it. He took pictures of the area, and then he bagged it and preserved it for evidence.
There is no word yet on what the powdery substance is. It is still under analysis tonight. The store clerks, meantime, were taken to a local hospital to be checked out.
The results are in. 4 of the 6 people possibly exposed to anthrax in Reno, Nevada have tested negative for the potentially deadly inhaled form of the disease. Early test results show the 2 others who came in contact with an anthrax-contaminated letter from Malaysia have also tested negative for airborne anthrax. 5 employees at a Microsoft office and a family member were tested. They have yet to be tested, however, for the less dangerous skin form of anthrax.
Our investigators have determined that they handled the contents of this letter or this envelope very, very carefully. We think their exposure in any case was extremely minimal, and for that we're highly optimistic.
A third test on pornographic pictures in the letter sent from Malaysia to the office showed positive for anthrax. State officials have sent the pictures to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta for further testing.
Now, there is still no proof that even the confirmed cases of anthrax are linked to the September 11th attacks. But the Secretary of Health and Human Services says that whether Osama bin Laden is involved or not, anthrax is still a form of terrorism.
Well, there's no question it's bioterrorism. It's a biological agent. It's terrorism, it's crime, it's terrorism. But whether or not it's connected to Al-Qaeda, we can't say conclusively.
Now, lawmakers are questioning whether the nation is prepared for a bioterrorist attack. Right now, the United States has enough of the antibiotic Cipro to treat about 2 million people, for anthrax over a period of 60 days. The Bush administration is planning to ask Congress for $1 billion next week to treat an additional 10 million people.
There are so many false alarms regarding powder found. How safe are you? Would you know if you became infected with anthrax?
Plus, what are the odds? There are a lot of questions surrounding anthrax, and part of the reason for that is it's so rare. KPTV's Robin Burke now to help us sort through the facts about anthrax and how it spreads. Robin, what'd you learn today?
Well, Anna and Chris, there has never been a single case of the deadly form of anthrax, the pulmonary anthrax, in Oregon, not even from a cattle or sheep ranch where the anthrax bacteria can live in the blood of livestock. When an infected animal dies, spores of anthrax can be released. But the anthrax we've been hearing about lately is most likely cultured in laboratories to be used as biological weapons.
You can't smell it, taste it, or see it. Anthrax spores are so small, an infectious dose, 8 to 10,000 spores, is smaller than a speck of dust.
You have to inhale a lot of it in order to get sick. So just finding stuff on the ground isn't, or on surfaces, isn't going to threaten anybody. The question is there a bunch of it in the air? Was there a bunch of it in the air?
Inhaling anthrax is often deadly. The spores germinate or grow in the lungs and lead to serious infection. In rare cases, anthrax spores attack the intestines if poorly cooked meat contaminated with anthrax is ingested. The most common form of anthrax disease is of the skin. Cutaneous infection occurs when anthrax spores come in contact with a cut or open sore. Healthy skin isn't usually affected. This is the most treatable form. Fortunately, you cannot contract anthrax from another person. It is not contagious. But because it is so rare, it's difficult to diagnose, especially pulmonary anthrax.
We think the risk of pulmonary anthrax is very, very low, and the data bear this out. It's more difficult to do than you would think. No terrorist has been able to do this on a large scale.
Yet healthcare professionals have been trained to look for anthrax symptoms in recent years, fearing a terrorist will eventually figure it out.
When anthrax is inhaled, the symptoms are much like a cold: fever, cough, achiness. Then after several days, it progresses to trouble breathing, swelling, and shock. Now, there are antibiotics for all forms of the anthrax disease, as we said, but when it's inhaled, they need to be administered before the symptoms appear, and that is why it is often most deadly. People don't even know that they've been infected.
So, Robin, if you get any of these symptoms, go to the doctor right away, right, and try to catch this thing as soon as you can.
Absolutely, but it's really hard right now. You could easily be overreacting to simple cold symptoms, but...
And what about the vaccine that we've been hearing so much about? Is that an option for, a person like you or I?
Well, for the military, it is an option, of course, you know about that. And also for some veterinarians and for some farm workers. But it's unlikely it'll be available to the general public because, again, the threat of anthrax is extremely rare even now.
I guess that's the good news in all of this.
That's the good news.
All right, thanks, Robin.
Robin, thanks. As airstrikes continue in Afghanistan tonight, the Taliban makes an offer to the White House. Tim Murray has the latest tonight on the president's response.
President Bush has rejected the latest offer today from the Taliban to discuss turning over Osama bin Laden to a third country if the U.S. stops its bombing campaign and provides evidence of bin Laden's guilt.
Turn him over. Turn him over. Turn his cohorts over. Turn any hostage they hold over. Destroy all the terrorist camps. There's no need to negotiate. There's no discussion. I told them exactly what they need to do. And There's no need to discuss innocence or guilt. We know he's guilty. Turn him over. If they want us to stop our military operations, they just got to meet my conditions. And when I said no negotiations, I meant no negotiations.
Meantime, U.S. warplanes are again pounding targets inside Afghanistan. As night fell, the bombing resumed near the capital, Kabul. Earlier today, bombs fell for 7 hours in the southern city of Kandahar, a Taliban stronghold. It's believed some of the targets included high-tension power lines leading in and out of the city. Police sources in Pakistan say at least one person was killed in pro-Taliban street demonstrations there. Some of the injured are believed to be police. The demonstrators were heading toward an airbase believed to be used by the U.S. when a confrontation broke out between police and marchers. I'm Tim Rory reporting.
Well, anti-American riots turned deadly in Nigeria this weekend. Hundreds of people there passed away when police clashed with protesters. Now, the demonstrators are opposed to the U.S. airstrikes in Afghanistan, and police say that some Muslim residents there attacked and killed at least 200 civilians.
3 powerful explosions rocked the eastern Afghan city of Jalalabad within the last hour as a lone jet streaked across the sky, dropping at least 3 bombs. Earlier today, the Taliban led a pack of journalists inside Afghanistan to see the damage caused by previous missile attacks. Nick Robertson reports by videophone.
One of the Taliban's top leaders said this evening that he believed a week into this conflict that the people of Afghanistan were behind the Taliban regime. Now, they were concerned in the early days of the air bombardment, which way would public opinion inside Afghanistan go? Would it go with the Taliban or would it go against them? Now, the government here saying that it has gone with them. Now, the Taliban today took us to a village about 60 miles west of Jalalabad, where we are now. In that village, they showed us houses that they say had been destroyed in a bombing raid. It was a village, remote, high in the mountain, difficult to get to. There were about 40 to 50 houses there, and about 90% of them were destroyed. People were sifting through the rubble there. They said that they were trying to find loved ones, trying to find property in those houses. People there told us that this was just a simple rural community. They bridled at suggestions that this might have been a terrorist training camp or might have been viewed as a terrorist training camp. They insisted that it was just a rural community. They showed us bomb fragments they said were from American bombs, and indeed just 100 yards from the village, a large unexploded bomb stuck in the hillside. Later on, the Taliban took us to a hospital in Jalalabad, where we saw about 17 people who were injured in that same bomb blast in that same village, we are told. Now, the Taliban said that some 200 people were killed in that blast. We had no independent verification of that. Certainly in the village itself, there were some, perhaps 24 or so graves. There are people out on the streets going about their business as normal. We saw a lady this morning walking down the road carrying a box of washing powder. A lot of traffic on the road too. There appears to be no problem at the fuel stations for people getting fuel, people able to drive in and fuel up vehicles at will. So the situation out on the streets here, perhaps fewer people around than would be normal, but a sense of normality, not a sense of abject fear on the streets at this time. Nick Robertson, CNN, Jalalabad, Afghanistan.
As the bombing continues in Afghanistan, so does the humanitarian aid. Some of the food shipments heading to Afghanistan include wheat grown here in the Northwest. Oregon, Washington, and Idaho are the top U.S. producers of soft white wheat, which is used to make flatbread called naan, which is a daily staple in the Afghan diet. 65,000 metric tons of Northwest wheat have already been shipped to Afghanistan.
In Portland, an open forum is held this evening to help residents sort through the current crisis. Speakers with a variety of viewpoints started off the discussion tonight at the Portland Conference Center. Now, many in the crowd voiced their support for U.S. military action, even if there's no guarantee that this war will be clean or short like Desert Storm.
It's a very different situation, and you'll never eliminate terrorism totally, so you have to go far enough to whittle it down to ineffective proportions, but no one can say at this point just how far that is or how long it's going to take.
Of course we should be upset, and we need justice for the thousands of people who died. We need to be upset, but we need to understand, where does that terror come from? Why do people hate us? What's the nature of other people's conflicts with the United States? And then how are we going to solve the problem?
Tonight's forum was sponsored by the Process Work Center of Portland and the Lutheran Community Services Northwest. Coming up, frisky felines dress their stuff as they fight for best in show in Portland.
High anxiety for people in the small plane business. The connection to the terrorist attacks coming up.
And the Mariners slug it out with the Indians. Do they hang on to play another day or face elimination? Highlights coming up next.
And I'm Monica Guzza. Temperatures near normal today. Tomorrow we're going to heat up and then they will drop well below normal. We'll talk about all of that, why it's happening, and the Mariners forecast when weather on at 10:31.
Hi, I'm Stephen Curtis Chapman. My family is very important to me, and that's why I'm excited about a new radio station that's safe for the whole family. It's called The Fish, and it's at 104.1 FM.
This is your time. This is your dance.
The Fish plays positive and uplifting music that encourages your family, and you won't have to worry about hearing offensive lyrics.
Today's Christian music, 24 hours a day. Try it, the new 104.1, The Fish.
Red Robin is kicking. It's more than a restaurant. It feeds a part of you. The part that wants to hang out. Come on in. Have a burger. Kick back and check out our all-new gourmet burger tour. Roasted garlic chicken burgers, Wild West buffalo burgers, and more. The Gourmet Burger Tour, only at Red Robin.
We've been manufacturing the Blevins toothpick right here since 1974. These fir trees will be selected, cut, and sent to our mills. The best of them will become Blevins toothpicks. This is where we shave every Blevins toothpick before it's sanded and stained with a light coat of vegetable oil. Sounds like a lot, but that's why people all over the world demand Blevins toothpicks.
Sometimes you don't need a leading brand, but when you do, come to Thomason.
99 hammers right here on the wall. 99 hammers right here. Pick one out, swing it about. 98 hammers right here on the wall. 98 hammers right here on the wall. 98 hammers
The new tool territory at Sears. A huge assortment of tools from more than 100 top brands.
Hey, let's go need those pliers.
Tool territory at Sears, where tools rule. You're watching the 10 o'clock news.
Time now for sports. A little bit of pressure for Freddie Garcia today, I guess. Bad outing last time, right?
That's right, and he had to win, and the Mariners had to win, or that wonderful season would be for nothing. But it lives on. One way or the other, the Mariners were coming home tonight, but instead of returning alone to start an unwanted vacation, they are back in town with Cleveland in tow and a job to get done tomorrow. Game 5 tomorrow, 1:20 in the afternoon. It is now winner take all.